run down to here, find the edge of the field. Technically, I probably shouldn't use use GPS on this tractor because it doesn't have one. So I do have the compass mod at the top, so it tells me when I'm heading, for the most part, north. If I keep the drive angle somewhere between 359 and 1, we should end up predominantly going north and getting a reasonably straight edge. Now I'm actually now driving right along the edge of the defined field area. I will run across the top because there. Oh, and that's where the field all dips in to the right some more. But we'll run across the top of the field in order to create ourselves a little bit of a headland for turning around. Now once the new 940 is finished, I'm going to have to go and grab the seeder and plant this field and the other two as I need. I think I can do that now. I might have to wait a couple of days. I can't remember whether it allows it in early fall or whether I have to wait till closer to the end of fall season before I can do that. I do kind of wish we could get this map on Farm Sim 19. It would need a fair amount of work. The yards are not very smooth transitions between the gradients on them. In spite of, you can see the rolling, undulating field to the left. It's nowhere near flat. And you look out there, and it looks quite a level farmland, but it's not when you get up close. There's almost nothing level on this map, and the yards are they're not contoured well. Not that generally it's not a problem, although when you drive through, your equipment can tip quite precariously, and occasionally can get you worried that you're about to throw a load over. But for the most part, it's not too bad. But it's it's kind of a little bit large for a single player to cope with. Although the field, that big field, the 12 hectare field, that's 4 fields ploughed together. So technically it shouldn't take you too long to get work done on them if you treated them as individual fields. I've done it again. Wrong. Why do I keep forgetting which button to press? And off we go. So, since we mowed the field, giving us 1 level of fertilisation, this gives us a second We've got to fit in a third, probably around the third or fourth day of fall. And then we'll be able to mow this field on the last day, assuming we've got the time. It's kind of part of the problem I've got now is because there is so much rainy weather's coming over the next few days. The only dry day this fall is day 6. So that's I can do field work right now because in spite of the fact it rained overnight today, this morning, I do have, or we are now, low moisture in the fields. So we can do a little bit of work while the rain stays off. We have no imminent rain warning right now. So we've got the rest of today, and I think we can probably get all the way through till about 6-8 o'clock in the evening. I'm not sure I have that much work left to do. I've got to mow the grass field number 39. I need to fertilise this field, fertilise field 1, and then that's all done for a while. We've got to sell the silage bales. If I mow field 39, we're converting that into silage, and then sometime over the next few days I am going to have to find a convenient time to get one of the big tractors out with the plough and plough that southern field. But I think between rainstorms we should have the time to do most of that. Probably all of it. It's just the last day. I might get lucky. I might be able to harvest the soybeans. I might be able to forage the corn before the last day of fall. Depends on when the rain happens and when they finish ripening. And I think the last year I had 2 days of rain, 1 day of sun, 2 days of rain, 1 day of sun. And unfortunately, so I had an awful lot of work to do on the last day of fall. And unfortunately for me, the rain on the 5th day of fall happened round about 6 o'clock in the evening onwards, and so getting up the next morning the fields were soaked and I couldn't actually do any harvesting until after midday. So the last day of harvest last year went all the way through to about 10 o'clock at night, and at that point you're worried because at midnight it becomes winter and your crops are dead. So you need to get everything done. I managed it, but a little bit tight. However, during all the rain days, if you wait till the ground dries out, you can throw down oilseed radish, and I ended up putting down all the wheat, all the barley, and all of the canola, so that this year it was ready to harvest last day of summer, which was a lifesaver this year because of because of the fall weather. Actually, no, it happened. We were able to harvest them on the 5th day of summer. The 6th day of summer was rain, and then fall's days 1 to 5 are going to be rain. So we managed. They ripened on the last day of sunlight, or the last day of sunshine. I would like to buy some more fields, but because of the way the the weather's looking, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to. Well, and also most of the fields on the map are now ripened, and so the farmers, the non-player farmers, are harvesting those fields when I can't. Yeah, it's raining and the rain stops and you go and check what fields are available and sort of, oh look, some farmer managed to harvest it while it was raining. Shame I can't do that. So we'll get this field done. We'll run over to field 1. Do that one too. Oops, wrong button. And then we'll swing by the Class 940 and check to see how it's doing on cultivating the oilseed radish fields. And then we've been playing for about an hour now. Hopefully that'll take me about half an hour more, maybe a little bit more. And then I will very briefly check on Farm Sim 19 and see what that's set up like now after playing with all the control settings and what have you. As I said, I played it offline on Thursday when I wasn't trucking and seemed to have got everything set up okay. It wasn't giving me any grief, but I hadn't checked on the problems with 17 at that point. So I want to go back there and make sure. I'll make sure we can make sure that the stream quality is coming through good. So I cut too much grass for the sheep. No, for the cows. I cut way too much grass for the cows. I took some over to the sheep and they had most of it, but there was still a little bit left over, so I figured if I drop it on that field there, when the mowing train comes through, it'll be windrowed and wrapped with the rest of the grass on that field. Because I got nothing to do with it. Yeah. Normally I only feed the cows grass. I didn't actually realise I'd already fed the cows some grass when we did field 1. Oh, it's the pig. The pigs are complaining they got no food. Cows have too much poop. 190,000 litres. We'll probably break that out to fertilise one of our fields, and just use a regular cultivator on the oilseed radish on that particular, on the field I picked to do. I'll probably do one of the fields closer to this farm, not the big one on the left, because I don't think I might have enough manure to do that field, but I'm not entirely sure. Field 5's kind of small and may work out a little bit better. Hey God of Thunder, how you doing? I just figured I'd run a quick late evening test on all the stuff I did today. So we've got the controls remapped, and I've reset up OBS so that we should be at a high quality broadcast. And since this morning's stream was a little bit of a problem because the controls weren't mapped, so I was driving everywhere with the keyboard, I figured probably catch up with some of the work I meant to do this morning and wasn't able to get round to. Oh, cool. Hi, Taylor. How are you doing? Am I getting the whole of that field? Yes. Yeah, sadly couldn't join you guys today because way too many kids to keep track of. Plus, it was also supper time when when the stream went down today, so I can't eat and drive tractors at the same time. Not unless I have GPS. And yes, I could be running this tractor with GPS, except if you look at the roof on the tractor, technically it doesn't have it, so we're doing all this by hand. But then I've been practicing on Farm Sim 19 doing field work by hand, because no GPS, or at least no official GPS. I believe it's now available in beta and being updated regularly. Yeah, I've got a lot of overlap on the left, so I'm kind of wasting some of this fertilizer. But we'll get this field done. And then next Saturday's stream we will probably be hitting field 39 with the mowing crew and create some more silage bales. Yeah, no ditches on this map. In fact, there's no freestanding water on this map. But there is a water point at each farm. And there's also seed and fertilizer points on the farm. But they're kind of expensive to use, so I don't. I have auger wagons and tankers to bring seed pallets and fertilizer pallets from the store, and then I can take them out to the field and service the seeder while it's in progress, rather than having to run the seeder back to base. And also I don't have to carefully load seed pallets and fertilizer pallets on the back of a flatbed and strap them down. Back we go. I think this field could probably use fertilizer all the way up. I use everything below the gate line for silage or hay or something like that. and I reserved the top bit to top up the cow's grass supply. So I'll run the mower along a row once and unload that into the cow feeder. Before I got this field and seeded it grass, I used to use the cow pasture where the cows live. I'd run the tractor around there with the mower. Yes, very, very useful, and there is now a vehicle inspector mod for Farm Sim 19 which includes the similar information. I don't think it's identical. Obviously I don't know because I haven't got any FS19 farms up to the point where my animals are panicking for some uncontrollable reason. So at the moment we are being reported because we have 126 sheep, and if you have over 100 it starts to get a little bit worried. We've got over 151 pigs, I think that says 151, and they're kind of short of all sorts of food. So it's screaming and yelling about that. And then the cows, don't know how many cows I've got. It's actually about 76 or 75. So the quantity of cows isn't deemed as a problem by the reporter, but the amount of manure they have is seen as kind of an issue. And the pig's manure is also seen as an issue. So we will probably use some of both on some fields around the farm as we cultivate them. But then the other nice things about it is you can see I'm driving the Massey Ferguson 5500 and it tells me how much fertilizer I've got left in my tank. 12%. Yeah, I don't have an awful lot. We might not make it to the top of the field. But I can also see the Class Axion 940s running around with a worker, spreading digestate and cultivating. I think it tells me what field it's on. Field 26 currently. So if it stops doing stuff, I can see that it's stopped doing stuff and I can go and tend to it. Well, yeah, I got the pigs this year to complete the pig breeding achievement, breed 50 pigs, and we've done that now because pigs breed summer, spring and fall. So we are now actually at the point where we could sell some. Unfortunately, the market is not at the point where I particularly want to sell any, because it's currently a really good time to buy some pigs. Not that I want to, because they're kind of doing their thing, breeding. I'm perfectly happy with how they're doing that, but now I need to take the Massey back to the main farm once we're done with this job and go fill up the pig trough. Yeah. We're actually spreading the solid fertilizer that quickly, so in spite of my lousy efficiency rating on this field, the amount of overlap I've got on the right hand side at the moment, it looks like we might actually finish it. So the width of this is now probably around about where the tractor is how everything to the right of the tractor is used for silage. Everything to the left I save and cut when the cows are hungry for some grass. So let's check that field and see what's what. So I could loop down and back again. A little bit of this still needs some fertiliser. You can see right at the top of the field, I haven't cut that since I last got it to 100% fertilisation, because the cows aren't very hungry for grass. So we will run down here and do what we can. I mean, obviously it's changing shade all the way down, so it's showing that the fertiliser is taking because the field wasn't completely fertilised. I'm going to skip the rest because, as I said, that grass is used purely for feeding the cows grass. So that's empty, that field's done. We'll need to come back here on the last day of fall to cut it again with the cutting crew, but for now we can close that gate. So the cows all got fed. Field on the left, in spite of its looks, is not ready to be harvested yet. It's in the final stage of growth. Yes. Oh, I fully expect Seasons to be quite an exceptional mod when they bring it out on 19. I know there are supposedly some differences. They're going to change how weeds work. I don't know in what way. I was reading on the history of Farm Sim 17 Seasons, and one of the things they said was they wanted you to feed your animals every day, but decided that was kind of a little bit unmanageable, so instead they compromised and said, well, we're going to do it more than the 6 days the base game enforces. You need to do it every 3. Now, even doing it every 3, to be comfortable, I'm probably going to, restock their food every 2 days. Although at this point their straw got serious. Well, yes. We're in early fall. Obviously, straw use during the summer is very low, and in winter is very high. So at the end of summer, I had enough for 6 days of straw, and first day of fall, the straw requirement goes up, and so they had almost none. Comparatively speaking, so I had to go around and give the cows were almost out of straw. They were 300 litres, which I'm guessing would probably have taken them a couple of hours to get through, so I had to get to that immediately. And since I was testing what was what. I did that off camera earlier. I'll drop it's my supply of beets I created about 1.5 years ago. I actually bought the field full of beets and then said, well, I might as well get some pigs because I didn't complete the achievement yet. And for those of you into forestry, this contraption is out in Farm Sim 19. It's got a winch at the back, so you can chop down trees, stand off the tractor at a distance, run the winch chain out, and drag some trees out of the forest, down a hill, whatever, and get it to where you can chop it up, pick up the wood, and stick it on the back of a truck. Oh, I can't tell because yes, oops, I have to be careful doing that. Last time I did that I got the forks wedged under a wall and had to reset everything. Fortunately the reset point's only just around the corner here, so it wasn't a complete disaster. The reset point on this map and the farm login point is right there, so I can buy stuff from the store and have it delivered to the farm, which is fun. Incredibly useful for leased equipment, because then you're not paying leasing for shipping it to the farm. Rationale? Well, the leasing company delivered it on a low loader. So, we'll grab some beets. We'll attempt to grab some beets. That's a really bad grab. But if I'm lucky, that crate will disappear. I think the pigs take about 200 litres of beets. Bing, gone. Okay, let's... He's halfway down the field. So, beets. Oh, we need another crate of beets. I guess we can go and fetch one. Do we? The autosave feature of FarmSim 19 is annoying, but it is kind of a good idea. So when I remember on 17, I'll click on save when I go off to that menu, so as not to lose too much progress if things go bad. Okay. Well, there's one on its side. That's not good. However, oops. Really not doing very well at this, am I? Oh. Yeah, let's try and put the fork on the ground and then grab it. There we go. Wobble around a bit. I should probably lift the fork off the ground so it doesn't shake the beets loose. So yeah, for those that don't know, in the conveyor section there is a pallet maker for beets and potatoes. And then rather than throwing a pile of them off to one side, you can crate them up, stack them neatly, and feed your cows and pigs. Sorry, feed your pigs beets or potatoes whenever you feel like it. Okay. Well, that's handy. It fell off. Drive around it. Oops. Get the fork out of the ground. Oh, no, we dug in. Yes. Yeah, that's one of the not very smooth transitions of grade in the yard areas. There. Yeah, last year I really screwed up the straw supply and ended up having to buy a couple of bales of straw to keep me going. I think I can see the problems with the pig manure supply. It's all falling out the side. There we go. And lift that up and push it closer. Boink. Okay, that's the beets ready. So, water we have sufficient for another day. Cows could use another bale of straw. Yeah, okay. And pigs just need an awful lot of food as quickly as we can get it. So we'll get on with that. Yeah, this was one of the earliest farms released on Farm Sim 17. And from what I recall, the guy who created it didn't do anything after it. So this never actually got modified for seasons. So I'm playing with a sort of a compromised season load. Seasons was created so that it would work exceptionally well with... let's feed him barley. I've got lots of it. Seasons... Oh, shoot. Stop. Oh, really? Okay, I've got a full trailer. I can start loading, I can't stop loading. That's a pain. Now I need to find the button that does that and remap it. So yes, what I was saying, so seasons works whether the map is designed for seasons or not. However, it makes some compromise decisions if the map is not seasons compatible or seasons ready. That includes things like predominantly it's to do with the bales of straw and hay. Grass rots no matter what in any sort of, whether it's a prepared map or an unprepared map. Hay rots if you leave it in the rain. Straw rots if you leave it in the rain. Unless you put the hay or straw under cover. Now, in a prepared map, you can put loose straw in a barn and it won't rot. And you can put loose hay in a barn and it won't rot. On this map, because it's not seasons ready, if you leave your hay or straw loose, it will rot no matter where you store it, because seasons doesn't know where your barns are. However, if you bale up hay and straw, rain will not destroy them, even if you leave the hay and the straw out in a field somewhere. So that's one of the compromises. And I mean, if you want to honour the how seasons is supposed to work, you will always put your bales in under shelter, even though game wise you don't have to, because seasons doesn't know where they all are. So forwards. Hello. Now that button's not working at all. There we go. Barley, canola. We never grow sunflowers up here. Soybeans. I could use the soybeans. That'll do. Because we've still got a soybean harvest, so it's no great shakes using the soybean supply to feed here. But the map does keep me busy. I'm running a 6-day season, and pretty much running mostly in real time. Occasionally I'll speed up, but it's very occasionally. I've usually got at least something to do most days of the month, most days of the season. Oh, the other update news is I will be getting a steering wheel. Steering wheel and pedal stand, so that I will be able to move the steering wheel off of the desk and put the microphone close to my face, which will be a nice change. So corn, got 20,000 corn. I'm fairly certain I am going to have to harvest at least some of the corn. So the amount available for silage is going to be a little bit less than I'd like. But that seems to be a big problem I have with supplies. Last year I underestimated the amount of straw. How's that look? Where's the corn load? Yeah, kind of want probably a good 1,000 more. Wheat and barley's 25%, corn's 50%. Yeah, so I want about 5,200, so 1,000 more corn to complete that load. No, my luck, I'll load it up to 1,000 and then won't use enough, or we'll have too much in there. Oops, yeah, that's 500 too much. 438 or something like that. I don't recall, but I think this trailer came with the farm as well, along with this tractor. And this is a very handy trailer to use for feeding pigs. The one and only other time I had pigs on a farm in FS17 was the very first play I did on Goldcrest. And I had a train of 4 of them, and I kept supplies in the rail depot just across the way from the pig farm. And I'd load the first wagon up with wheat or barley, the second one up with canola, sunflowers or soybeans, the third one with corn, and the fourth one with beets, and come across, feed the pigs, and then take the train back, take the wagon train back and unload the wagons back into the silo. And you don't need anything much bigger than this. Sadly, I don't think this particular trailer is available in Farm Sim 19. Obviously, the Stroutman... actually, the Stroutman's even better because it's only a 4,000 litre trailer. Which you can up to 8,000. Okay, Let's see if we can get this reversed back down there. So, we've done the work with the Massey, we've fed the pigs, we've fertilised the grass fields. Should be, oh, we got a tree sticking through. Pull forward a little bit more. There we go. No tree sticking through. We can zoom in. Let's give this thing a wash. We put it away. Press the wrong button. In general, I do prefer the Massey Fergusons over the Fendt, because for the same size tractor you get a better engine size. Obviously you can save money with the Fendt because you don't have as big an engine. Typically I put my tractors through quite a lot of work, especially on this farm, and using the realistic fuel mod, part of which shows the power draw around the speedometer. You know, from 6 o'clock through 12 o'clock is the power draw on the engine, and it also shows you the litres usage per hour. But it also modifies how the tractor works when you attach equipment. So you have to have enough power to run the piece of equipment, enough power to move the tractor and the weight of the equipment, and then on top of that you have to have enough power to overcome the gradient that you're driving up. So you can't put a 180 horsepower tractor on a 180 horsepower seeder unless you want to seed at 2 miles an hour. Typically you want, on a flat land you want probably around 200 horsepower. On this farm you want about 240 because of the gradients on the hills, on the fields. I mean, you look at that field ahead of us, that's a steady climb, and that's a big drain on your tractor's power. And so, I started the farm out with the Axion 940, which is a very capable tractor for the equipment I'm using. 12 metre seeders and plant cultivators. And also tippers. You load up a tipper, even, I'm using a 21,000 litre tipper, and 380 horsepower is reasonably capable of moving it around. So how are we doing here? We have nearly finished doing this field, and there's little patches along the top that didn't get done. There's probably little patches along the bottom that didn't get done too. There's, I think, the helper system when using this setup isn't isn't considering the cultivator on the back of the tank. It's assuming you're doing slurry spreading from the pipe on the back of the tank. And good evening, 44 Magnum. Which is why when we're going up the field, we're not clearing out that last little strip. But when we come down the field, we'll stick the cultivator down outside of the field and then drag it in. Anyway, that's the new tractor. This is my new forage harvester that I bought this morning, replacing the Chrome Big X Cargo, which was a problem mod for me. I used it because it allowed me to put a helper on the forager. The forager would run up and down and I could go and empty it just like you do with a regular harvester. But somebody suggested I put a sugar beet trailer on the back. Now the hitch on this thing's a little bit high for it, so it's tipping back at quite an angle. But I can load that up with silage, and then the high tip I can high tip it into a regular tipper and take it off to the BGA to dump in a silo there. There's my Kramer and my silage stacks. I'll probably sell some more of these off camera, maybe sometime during the week, or maybe we'll do it next week. So, tank was about 90% when we started, and we've used up about 40% of it on the fields so far. Don't need to do anything with that truck. That truck's sitting there to resupply the slurry tank when it's needed. That's the mowing train ready to go on field 19 next week. Oh, 125 hours on that one. 75 on the voucher already. I've only had that. Gee. I haven't had this tractor long. Oh no, I've had it about a year and it's got 75 hours on it. Very heavily used. Harvester I've had since the second year, 23 hours. Doesn't take long to harvest stuff. This tractor I bought as a supplement to the 940, which has 125 hours on it, but I run it around when I'm doing sort of planting and cultivating at the same time. This thing's very new, and I only really use it to feed the sheep, but it's on a wrapper now. That's just used to put water in the sheep. I've had that for a long time, but it's a small tractor, so it's only really used for fertilizing most of the time, and this is brand new this morning. "15 hours from dropping bales in the feeder." 71 on that and 38 on that. So I'm going to stop this stream here. I'll be back probably a few minutes and run a little bit of Farm Sim 19 just to make sure all the settings are working out. So if you want to hang around, you can do. If you're not, have a good weekend. But for now, we will. Come on. Let me out. There we go. Save. Oh, there's the information panel. Didn't get an awful lot done. 120 litres of fuel. Still 131,000 litres of silage. No, slurry stuff. That's a lot.